Hey guys, this is Joe748, and I'm here with my co-host SD1. Colin is on a much-needed rare vacation, but he may or may not be hitting up a secret game right now, I'm not allowed to say. And here with us is LightningMcAces and SolidestDawg. They're here to talk about their experiences coming from solo players and joining together as a team with an outside investor. I get a lot of questions about when you're starting off your career as a solo player. People ask me, should I take investment from a family member or an investor, or should I just grind away solo? So we're here to hopefully help answer that for you. So how you guys doing?
Doing good. A little tired. We've been out grinding this week, but we're doing all right though.
Yeah, definitely tired. I was out till like 4 a.m. last night. Didn't get a whole lot of sleep. Night before, out till 7 a.m. Just straight playing.
Yeah. Yeah, they're in an undisclosed city right now, grinding away at the tables. So can you give us a little bit of background? Like when did you start getting interested in card counting, Lightning?
So back when quarantine happened, 2019, I think is when I first started. Actually, I found the BJA videos, and had the generic card counter start. I watched all the BJA videos and was super interested. I wasn't even 21, so I wasn't able to play a whole lot of states, but I was super interested about it. Watched all the videos, but I never ended up actually getting a membership and perfecting the skill until 2023, which is when I really started actually learning and was able to count down a deck and play with deviations, and also when I ended up getting the BJA membership.
Nice. And then were you in school at this point?
Yeah, so I actually was I graduated from my bachelor's degree in 2023, May 2023. And then by 2023 fall, I was a graduate student as a data science master's student. That didn't end up working out. I did about 3 months of it before I realized that it's not really something that I wanted to do. And then it just so happened that I was a perfect AP or card counter at that point. And I decided to drop out of school. It was on an unrelated reason. I didn't drop out of school to be a card counter, but I kind of had that in my back pocket as a side hustle, I suppose.
Okay, so walk us through something. So you decided that you really didn't want to do it, but at the same time, at your age, you've already committed this much time to your bachelor's, and you had this plan to get your master's. With that pursuit and that degree, what would be a salary coming off of your master's in corporate world with something like that?
If I finished my data science master's, it's honestly a really competitive field these days, with AI becoming such a large part of our lives, I guess. And that's kind of what I was learning and training to do. Like I said, I was only 3 months in. But anyways, if I ended up graduating with that degree, it would have been at least six figures, probably 120 to 150. So I gave up on that. It was a tough decision to make because obviously that's a nice salary, but I wasn't really in it for the money. I just hated the schooling. So kind of made that decision from a mental standpoint of, do I want to hate my life for the rest of my years working, or do I want to do something that I actually enjoy? So
that's something that I always give kudos to your generation for. I think you get bagged on in the generation just before you gets bagged on a lot, but the truth is that you guys have kind of changed the game. You're willing to flip careers or change jobs or say, I'm not going to hate my life doing this job just because they're paying me a lot of money. Let's be honest, a lot of money to do it. So that's pretty cool. I've always said that I just think that's great. But it was still a lot of money. You decided you don't want to hate your life, and you started counting cards at what stakes?
This might sound a little familiar to one of the BJA guys, but I started with $800 in a dream. Playing very, very low stakes, doing, I think, a 1 to 6 spread on a $10 table. This was at the time that I didn't even have a BJA membership, so I actually made my own betting software and calculated a spread. I didn't understand the importance of switching to two hands in favorable situations. So I was really only doing a 1-6 one-hand spread with an $800 bankroll. And so I've always said, like, I think looking back on it, I had 85 to 90% risk of ruin. And so to be where I'm at today is actually, I'm very grateful for how the numbers played out and that I didn't get wiped out at that point.
Joe, what happened to you again when you did that?
I lost it in one night, basically, as soon as I upped my bet. It was fine when I was going to $75, but then as soon as I went 500, it was... And I had 5 times as much as you too, so... I mean, did you have more than 800 available, or was that just all you were willing to test out?
This is going to sound even worse, but it was technically replenishable from the standpoint that I was earning probably $120 a week from donating plasma. So
that's amazing.
So I would say like in a month I'll have $500 more. Occasionally the rate for plasma payments was a little differently, but I estimated, like $500 a month. So I was like, all right, it's $800 now. It'll be $1,300 later. But then obviously, if I'm still playing with the 85 to 90% risk, I mean, $500 is going to maybe lower that by 10 to 20%, but it's not going to put me in the safe zone by any means.
I could see how someone might judge you for that, but being an AP, I can say that I also donated plasma, but well after I was playing for several years anyway, just when I was at home and not doing anything and bored, so I totally get you.
Well, I would still do it. I mean, to be honest, it's just like, I don't hate it to the point where I would never do it ever again. And I mean, it's good money, like gas money or whatever, what have you, like it's just a good little extra weekly income. So.
Well, and you're actually doing something good.
Doing something good. Yeah, exactly.
So just really quick, I just want to reiterate, you gave up on a career that's 150K plus benefits, 401k, all that stuff, and you're grinding on $10, $15 tables. What was your EV on that? Do you remember?
Based on my calculations, which I was naive at the time, so I didn't even have a way to calculate risk of ruin. But so based on my calculations, it was like $10 to $12 an hour. When I made the decision to drop out of grad school, it wasn't because I wanted to pursue card counting. It was more so like dropping out because I didn't enjoy it. And then I was searching for a full-time job. And then the idea was that card counting was just kind of like a side hustle and that I could get into maybe bigger stakes eventually, but I never had a plan for like it being my actual primary income, I guess.
So it was almost like plasma donation. You're like, okay, I can make some money doing this right now until I figure it out.
Absolutely. Yes.
We should put some BJA advertisements at the plasma donation center for their website. So you were, just grinding away alone for a while as like a solo player on the side, no intentions of going pro. What was it that kind of propelled you to the next phase in this journey?
Starting the team, pretty much. That's what shot us up.
Yeah, so SolidestDawg, you guys didn't know each other at the start. You kind of met later on.
No, we met in fall, late 2023. That's when I was going on a solo card counting trip at the time, and then we met up at a casino bathroom. It was pretty funny.
Can you give us a quick background on like your card counting introduction?
Yeah, so one night in February, right? I was in my homie's house. We were all chilling, and some guy came in talking about the movie 21, and that's what set the spark in me. I was like, okay, I actually want to learn this because he was saying that he made $100K in a year doing it. And I was like, dang. And I was working at Menards. If you guys know that in the Midwest, there's a lot of Menards around. And I was a retail manager in the flooring department. And the salary is probably about $50K, but I was like, dude, if I can make $100K a year doing this, that'd be pretty cool. Yeah, I started off learning the basics, all the 4 steps on BJA. That's all I ever used was that. I started with $1,000. In my first week, I made $1,000, and I was like, okay, this is gonna work. And I lost it all plus 100, so I had $900 left. And I actually didn't learn deviations at this point. That was July. Because I was thinking I could just play without deviations. Nah, definitely not. So I learned the deviations. Late July, I started playing $900, and then I just shot up to $8,000. And that's what at that point, I went part-time at my job. I was like, yeah, screw that. I don't want to work a 9 to 5. So I went part-time there, started playing, went on a bit of a break-even streak. And then, it wasn't really interesting at all. My EV for that was like $30 an hour. I was doing $10 to 2 hands of 75 as my max bet. Yeah, I did that up until like December. And then that's when we met up and did the team.
What was your ROR?
My ROR started at like with $900. I mean, it was like 90 something percent. And then I kept winning, right? So I kept getting lower, and all of a sudden it was like 45%. I was like, okay, we're getting somewhere now. We're just gonna keep it. Eventually, my risk of ruin got down to like 3%, and I was like, okay, we're gonna keep it below 4%.
What if that's when you lost everything? Was when it was at 3%?
Dude, that's when I started getting smoked. I had my first big out. I lost like 1,200 in one shoe. That was like a quarter of my bankroll. I was like, oh my god.
So at what point were you like, I'm gonna totally quit the job? Like,
I was initially planning, like I was just going to have a 15K bankroll and try to just grind it out, quit my job, because I'm really not trying to work a 9 to 5 ever. But then all of a sudden I got this team opportunity, and that's when I for sure was like, okay, like we're definitely going to try this out. I was very nervous about it. I quit in December, or no, actually it was early January, and then like the second week of January was when we started our trip.
okay, cool. So yeah, can you explain the whole background of how this team got started?
Yeah, so some random dude was posting up on the BJA forum about like giving 18K to like trying to bankroll players. And I saw it on there. I was like, oh, dude, this is a scam, right? Like, I'm not trying to get scammed. So I just didn't even think about it. Then Lightning here, he's hitting me up. He's like, oh yeah, me and this one guy are about to start a team. I'm like, you're doing it with that dude? I was like, really? And like, he was like, yeah. So he started initially playing with the 18 grand for like, how long would he say?
It was like 1 week.
Yeah, like 1 week, right? And then that's why when I was trying to join the team too, and I was like, well, I mean, I don't think he's scamming if he's giving us money. So I was like, I'm going to invest too. So I put my whole bankroll in, 7K, and that's pretty much like all I had. That was my life savings at that point. I didn't really have anything else because I blew my money working at Menards, unfortunately. That's besides the point. But yeah, so I got him to invest. Like you invested 7K too, right? Yeah, so me and him both have 7K investments. Our other investor had 18K. So we started with like 32K. That was early January, and like we could make like 100 something bucks an hour doing that. So I was kind of confident in it, but I was also very nervous.
Okay, that's good. What were you guys making before, roughly hourly, before the start of the team?
Yeah, mine was like $30 an hour.
My AV and EV actually had matched through like the first 100 hours of my journey, so that actually helped a lot. And I was right around like 20 to 25 bucks an hour. So
okay, awesome. This I get this question like all the time. I think SD1 gets the same question too from new members. They're always like at this kind of tipping point where they could choose to go one way or the other, keep grinding solo, or either join with another bankrolled person or get investment from like a family member or something like that. And so you guys had the opportunity to basically make 3 times hourly, but then you did have to do a split of profits too. So at that point, it's like, how much more are you guys going to make joining up together?
right. So basically, for me, I actually sat there and our investor slash third teammate, I guess, he laid out like exactly how we would get paid, and it ended up being we would get paid out based on our percentage of the initial investment that we staked, in addition to the hours and EV that we played slash generated. So if our team's making $150 an hour, every hour that I spend playing is worth about $50 to $60 an hour into my pocket. Every hour that SolidestDawg spends playing is worth $50 to $60 an hour in his pocket. And so for me, it was like a jump from 20 to 25 all the way up to 50 to 60 bucks an hour. That was very enticing. And then the other benefits for me was like, okay, we can kind of be on the road a little bit and have expenses and split expenses equally, versus if I were to just go on my own, then I take all those expenses myself, and likewise you would take all the losses, which was a big thing for me. So
you're basically doubling your hourly by doing this team. Is it kind of you two together combined, or is it like separate bankrolls with the investor and Lightning and investor and Dog? Like, is it separate, or is it all joined hours together as the 3 of you?
it was all 3 together. We would basically act as like one entity. We would all log hours. And even though we like put our names in each row in the spreadsheet that we have, even though we put our names in there, it was like we're all logging hours towards the same like long-term goal.
Yeah.
So your investor is playing too.
He's an AP. He was on the BJA forum, like we said. Up from January to about June, he was like simply investor / manager / very, very part-time player, like an hour here and there. But now he's actually on the road with us. So that's exciting for us because obviously with 3 players, it's 150% better than 2. So
What was that first meeting like? I mean, did you guys just meet at a Denny's and he just plops down 18,000 on the table? It was like, have at it?
like SolidestDawg was saying, initially it was him and I, like the investor and me. It was originally just him and I. And originally we met at a mall and he didn't bring the cash with him. I guess I kind of just assumed that he had the cash. I think he like showed a bank statement or something or the other. But we met at a mall for the purpose of like him testing me out because he was essentially hiring me, I guess, as his player. At that time, I wasn't actually risking anything. So that was the benefit for me, is that I wasn't going to stake anything and I was just going to simply play with his money. So it's kind of similar to like Stephen Bridges' situation with the big investor, 100K or whatever. And then he just went off risk free. But yeah, so we met at a mall. It's kind of spunky. He brought a 6-deck shoe into the mall and we just like sat there and tested out for an hour or so. I was horrible. I was so nervous. I was like, I'm meeting this new guy. I'm like freaking out because obviously it's a potentially amazing opportunity for me. So I'm like trying to figure out how to calm my nerves. But yeah, I was messing up left and right. I think my running count was off by like 4 on one of the shoes. I was like, yeah, that's very, very unlike me. But yeah, my nerves were definitely getting the best of me. But yeah, that's how him and I initially met.
Did you do another test before? Like, how did he get over it?
Sorry. We kind of wrote that one off as like nerves. And I kind of told him, I was like, yeah, man, I mean, I'm just nervous and whatever. And so we ended up meeting like a good half dozen times more after that to like make sure that I'm still good. So like within the next 2 weeks after the first time we met, we probably met 5 or 6 times. And I think I made one mistake in like 18 shoes or something like that, like one running count error or something like that. But I knew my game was good. I was comfortable with it. And so it was just a matter of like proving to him that I can play.
My question is where was there an active mall that you met at? What is a mall? Aren't those all gone?
Yeah, honestly, yeah, very obsolete. If you knew the area of the country that I'm in, you would understand. There's plenty of malls.
Dog, was your experience sort of the similar too with this investor?
Well, I met him at the start of the trip, right? So we were like talking on a Zoom call. But yeah, pretty much like when I first met him, the first day of the trip, he was testing me out and I was very nervous too. So I was making a bunch of mistakes and all that. But then we met the next day and then like I sort of fixed that. But yeah, not really the same way meeting in the mall. We were in Lightning's apartment.
How did you guys establish trust quickly? Because, I mean, yeah, he's giving you money, but then it all changes.
I kind of just thought about it like if he's giving us 18 grand, like I was thinking initially it's a scam, right? But if he's giving us money, I was like, how can he scam giving us money? Like I was trying to think of ways that was possible. And I was like, I can't think of anything. I'm kind of just gonna make the leap of faith and also invest into this to make it more worth my time.
And for him to trust us, the baseline for him was that he had a contract for us to sign. It's not like a legally binding contract in the sense that like we're breaking laws if we breach it kind of thing, but it's more so like if something were to happen, we would have at least some sort of precedence in court if something were to happen. So I guess that was kind of like his safeguard for himself, giving us the money. I don't know. I've asked him the same thing too. I don't know how he ended up trusting us because we didn't really actually know each other very well before we ended up deciding on embarking on our big road trip at the start. So I think he just kind of took a leap of faith with us. We took a leap of faith with him. And it was easier for us to trust him because he was the one giving us the bulk of the money. But yeah, I've had questions of him before of like, how insane do you have to be to trust 2 guys that you don't really know with your 18K or whatever?
Yeah, the AP world, trust is so huge, but I don't think your average individual truly understands how much trust is involved with the amount of money that exchanges hands or is being held and it's cash. Like, so it's kind of crazy. But you guys, so he infuses this money, you guys throw your bankrolls behind it, and boom, you have a much bigger bankroll. So your spread jumps. Talk about that. How is it different?
At that time, before the trip started, I was doing $10 to 2x100. I upped from 2x75. And then once we started this, I could play the $25 tables. And I was like, okay, bet. Like, so as my max bet, I'm doing 2x300. So from 2x100 to 2x300. And the swings were a lot bigger. I was down $1,000 the first day, or like 1,500. I was like, oh my God, that was like one of my biggest losses probably. And it just was like that every day.
That's getting off easy.
Yeah, that is.
Or 2x300. Yeah.
Yeah, now that's like, we can do that in our sleep.
Was it more nerve-wracking putting more out, or is it more exciting for you guys?
It was very exciting to be able to do it because, like, I wanted to get to that level. I didn't know when I was going to get to that level, though. It kind of ramped up quickly, but it was exciting because, like, our risk of ruin is like 1% at that point. So I felt safe doing it. Like, I didn't feel like super scared, but it's always adrenaline pumping at the table, especially when you're getting that massive count with max bets out. Like, I remember at this one casino, like, Lightning couldn't play there because it was in his home city or whatever, and he was already banned there. So, like, I was playing. I was doing 2x300 there every night. I played like 20 hours that week, and I was splitting tens like every night, like max bets out, playing crazy. They didn't even back me off really, and they were getting kind of sketched, honestly. The investor in Lightning.
We were kind of starting to question because I knew that this place in particular was sweaty on my 10 to 2x75 spread. So I was like, "There's no way you're getting this much time." And dude, like, so I think I tested him out every night after he would come home and be like, "Hey, we got to make sure you're good." So although there are a lot of casinos that'll still even just back off ploppies. So just because he was getting time in doesn't mean that he was not perfect or perfect, etc. But we kind of had some inquisitive thoughts that he might not be a good player just because he was playing so long there.
Yeah, and that's where the trust thing comes into play. So kind of like we didn't know each other very well at all when we started, right? So like I kind of just sent it. I got trust issues, so I'm not sure how I trusted him. I'm just like, well, I'm just gonna try it and see what happens. Just risk it.
That like brings up a really good point, and Joe makes this point all the time in his boot camp talk, and it's that you can read notes, you can have information, and a place is supposed to be exceptionally sweaty. But I've walked into many of those places, and you just gave a perfect example. One guy to the other guy, all of a sudden they're for some reason just treated differently, spreading with bigger bets. You don't know the reason. You'll never know the reason, which is why Joe's point always is just go get the money and don't worry about it. Don't stress too much about that kind of stuff. So were there more backoffs? So this was an example. They just let you play, but have you guys experienced quicker or more backoffs with the spread being bigger and the bigger bets?
Yeah, so I'm actually like a really numbers-based guy, so I was interested to see like my average hours to back off before team play and then the average hours to back off after we started team play. I say team play loosely because it's not like team play in the sense that it's big player spotter kind of thing. But after we bankrolled each other and started playing team play, my average hours to back off went from about 24 hours down to like 3 or 4, 3 or 4. So like a huge jump. We 10x our spread, and then our average hours to back off gets times 1/8 or whatever.
Every place I go to, I'm just backed off now. Every single place.
That's how we like it, though. We're full on maximize.
And I just go back later.
How soon do you go back?
I mean, next day sometimes. It depends.
Depends on
Different
on the
shift?
market. Depends on the market. Yeah. Like we've been in markets before. I mean, obviously, there's one big market in particular where you could probably get away with going back on the next shift and just changing your outfit and you'll be fine. But yeah, we do go back very, very quickly, especially with us being on the road frequently. It's like we're trying to get as much EV out of every spot as we can. And if they're going to back us off once and then let us play for another hour on a different shift, and that's really valuable for us. So
Are you guys messing that much with any kind of cover in terms of your look, like more than an outfit change or a hat change? Are you trying to actually look different when you're doing this?
it still depends on the market. I mean, Vegas, for example, like I'm going to be hot anyways, regardless of if I'm wearing a fake mustache or not. Not that that's what I do, but regardless of if I put on any sort of garb, it's not going to matter. So I'm pretty much at this point just kind of like, you know what, go in there, be quick with it, get out, get the money on the table, and then whatever happens, happens.
Yeah, we kind of try to look like ballers too, right? Because we're betting huge money. So like people are like, where are you getting this money? I just say like, oh, I invest in a lot of Bitcoin and like stuff like that. I try to just look like the rich kid. Like sometimes we'll throw on like a pair of glasses, but I mean my face is very recognizable. So I mean, even if I'm trying to like wear a hat and glasses or something, people they're like, "Oh, you were just here yesterday, weren't you?" I'm like, "No, yeah, I was."
No, that wasn't me.
Being on this new team, was there any things that the investor wanted from you guys in the way you play that you're doing differently now than versus when you were solo? Or is it just you're playing the exact same way you did before, just higher bets?
I think what's helped the team gel the way it does and like work out how it does is that we all kind of combined all of our values, and we all had similar values in that we're just full on maximizers. And it's like, I guess before we combined bankrolls, we were maximizers in the sense that why would you ever want to optimize a $2,000 bankroll or whatever? Like you don't want to optimize a small bankroll because you're making $10 an hour anyways. So when we combined, it was kind of just like, why wouldn't we maximize? So we adopted that same value when we first started as a team, and that's kind of what we've been rolling with from then on. Sometimes it bites us in the ass a little bit being maximizers, and there are places that in hindsight it's like, okay, you know, maybe if we were flicking them a bean here and there with tips or something, we could maybe have gotten an extra 20 minutes. But then again, the way we think about it is like, okay, we might have gotten an extra 20 minutes, but what is that 20 minutes worth to us? And it's all guesswork. We can't be sure that tipping is going to gain us time or cover betting is going to gain us time. Like if you're in OSN, if you're in databases, like you're just going to get the backoffs regardless. So just get the money out there.
Yeah, get the money on the table and get the money out. I always just wanted to bet my bankroll. So we just keep upping our bets as our bankroll grows. Like, screw it. Yeah, we're already hot anyway. So like, there's no like, maybe like it might have been good to optimize. Like it just depends on the person. But since our names are hot, like there's no going back.
So you guys are both database right now?
Yes, we actually got database, or I did the first day of our trip.
How are you guys handling CTRs and all that?
We tried to avoid them, but I mean, like it happens sometimes. Like I'd probably CTR'd a good like 5 times. I mean, it sucks. I've got trespass from a place from CTRing because I had to give my ID and they mailed me something, but that was only one time.
And like our team is like reporting taxes. Like we can't not report. So like we're to the point where it would be way illegal to not do that. And even though like with a small spread, it's still, you know, technically evading taxes or whatever. But now we're to the point where it's like we could not get away with it. Like we couldn't mattress the money that we're
That is true. You made a good point.
pulling in.
Pay your taxes, people.
It's good advice.
When you're playing, how often are you guys doing chip inventories back and forth with each other? Are you able to organize your trips like that so one person can hand off chips?
I mean, usually we go on the trips together. So, I mean, like, we'll just, like, meet up somewhere, give the chips, or we'll split them. We'll drop one person off at a casino with chips, and, like, the other person will wait, and then we'll just flip-flop. But we do it multiple different ways. We keep a decent amount of chip inventory, even for different cities, like cities that we plan to go back to and play, just so we don't have to CTR, and then we can actually put the bets down, too. Because that's the main thing. When you start betting big, right? Like buying in, they'll back you off when you're buying in. So like if you can get like $2,000 on the felt real quick by having the chips on you, that's very worthwhile. It makes your RPH faster because it takes forever to count $100 bills at the table when you got a lot of them. So chip inventory is very good if you got the bankroll to do it.
Yeah, I think that's one of the like biggest appeals of having a team is like having that chip inventory. It would just save so many times of having a CTR. At least you can, you know, at least you have at least probably like 20,000 in firepower before you'd have to sign anything.
That's a great point. And also like there's been times where we don't have enough chips on us to bet the bets. And it's like, okay, I started with like 3K in chips, but I go on like a 10K downswing or something. And it's like, I'm starting to have to buy in. It's like slowing me down a whole bunch. And then in hindsight, I'm like, damn, if I could have got 5 more minutes instead of playing like my last shoe, it got cut off a deck and a half because they got me in the middle of a shoe. But if I had the chips on me, then I could have got through that true 7 bet on the tail end of that shoe. It's like it's always kicking ourselves when we don't have chip inventory. We've never kicked ourselves when we do have a chip inventory. Like Sawdust was saying, if you have the bankroll for it, it's like there's a lot of pros that come along with having a chip inventory. Obviously, it's sketchy to have a lot of your bankroll tied up in plastic uselessness, but it's definitely beneficial to have to get the RPH in.
Sometimes I feel more secure because it's like if I get pulled over, it's not like the cop is going to take the chips, you know? Like maybe they'll take the cash, but they won't take the chips usually.
Yes.
When did you guys decide a good time to split? Like what's the scheduling of splitting profit?
Yeah, so the way we have it set up currently, I think with the church team, they did like 100K was their bankroll closing amount or whatever. So after they profited 100K, they would pay out investors, players, managers, etc. We have the exact same thing, except it's set lower at 50K. So after we reach like a profit margin, and that's, taking out losses and expenses and et cetera, et cetera. So after we net 50K, that's when we split it up amongst investors, players, managers. We have the same groupings of types of people on the team, except we don't really have investors, quote unquote. Like the players are the investors. So we have players that are investors. We have players who are investors and managers. Like I'm saying this like there's a bunch of us, but there's only 3 of us really. So we get paid out after 50K, and then based on your initial investment into the initial bankroll is kind of how you get paid out as an investor. And then as a player, you get paid out based on the EV that you generated for the team, which for me is a saving grace because I've been on about 150 hour break even. So I haven't been generating the AV as of recently, but as you guys know, I'm sure, and all the listeners, AV doesn't always materialize as quickly as you might hope for. So the players get paid out based on EV, and then managers, I think, take like 5% or something.
Yeah, 5% cut for management.
Your trips, you said before, you usually are taking them together, and it's you 3 on the team, right? There's nobody else on the team?
Yep, just us 3, but it's only been me and Lightning really up until now. Yeah, so like the only reason we started off going on trips is because like I went to go get tested out in his home city, in Lightning's home city, and then was playing there for like about a week, and then the next week we planned on taking a road trip, so we were going to Colorado, right? So we went to Colorado, played there for like a week, and he was gonna fly back, and then I was like, well, you might as well come to New Mexico with me, right? So like we go to New Mexico for another week, and then his plane was already leaving, but he's like, oh, I dropped out of school. I'm like, oh, you dropped out? I was like, okay. I mean, you want to? I don't initially plan on going on this trip all by myself. I was just gonna go travel the West by myself, hit all the casinos. And before I even joined the team, I was going to have like a 15K bankroll and do that, which probably wouldn't have worked out. So I got very lucky getting on this team in a way. But yeah, so like we're in New Mexico. He flies back because I was going to go to my uncle's house for a bit because he already had his plane ticket made. Then he flew back out. I went and picked him up, and we kept going. So I was like 2 weeks into our trip. The 3rd week is at my uncle's. He comes back, and we were on the road for another like month and a half about, just hitting all over the West Coast.
So did your investor just like get the itch? Is that why all of a sudden he's just jumping in and actually playing hours with you guys now?
I'm actually not sure
what's going on.
To be honest.
I guess from one perspective, like how could you not get the itch? Like SolidestDawg and I were doing so well for the team that I'm sure he was getting the itch quite a bit, but more so he was pretty busy up until like June. And then finally he kind of like tapered off with his workload and his other aspects of life, and so he was kind of just like, hey, I'm ready. And we're like, all right, well, we're ready for you.
Yeah, and I kind of been pushing him to play too, because like I want all the players and investors to be playing and getting the time in. So I was kind of pushing him, and then finally, like he was just busy the whole time. Now he's available to play, so it's kind of nice.
Do you guys plan on pretty much traveling together or splitting up? And since you have been traveling together for the most part, do you think people have associated you two?
We know they have associated us too. There was a time when SolidestDawg was in OSN, and I actually didn't have my own profile. Someone showed me, whatever. But I knew that I was in OSN as an affiliate to SolidestDawg because this person was able to tell us that if my real name was searched up, then it would pop up with SolidestDawg's profile. So
Yeah, just come up with my profile when we look them up.
so yeah, we're definitely affiliated. And also at this point, we also realize that we're most likely in the Biometrica database as well, because there's certain places that we know have like very, very advanced facial, and we can only get, 5-10 minutes unless we go crazy with the disguises.
Not even that, dude. I can't even get any playtime at some of these places. They instantly just come out and they're like, yeah, you're not allowed to be here, man. I'm like, okay.
Is that because like you got fired from a place nearby, you think, or is it your first?
It's facial recognition.
It was just like the first place you went to in town, and immediately it was like,
Yes, exactly. So like sometimes it's like it's our first offense at this place, and like in one particular market, I went to this certain place and they backed me off within one shoe or whatever, and I hadn't even gotten a back off at any of the other properties in this area, and honestly, I hadn't really been getting a whole lot of heat either. So in that case, we kind of assumed that it wasn't a flyer, and that definitely in the facial recognition databases, which as far as I'm concerned is only bio. But
yep, 100% Biometrica in OSN first day of our trip too. Like before we even made it to Colorado, we hit a place in the middle. They OSN'd us. So we went to another town that was like nearby to there because we plan on going south. So we got trespass from there, go down. That's when we had our first flyer ever. And they were telling us about like, oh, like, yeah, we used your biometrics to see your face or whatever when you came in. And then I didn't even get to play a hand in that place. Then we went to Colorado after that.
Something to note too is that for those out there who are like freaking out about an OSN entry, it's like, it's 100% not the worst thing in the world. I think that's been said by many pros on this podcast before, but like if you get put in OSN, like don't treat that as like you're done, because in fact it was actually for us, it was the start of our it was the start of our success, which is counterintuitive, but we got put in OSN on the first day of our road trip. Right when we first started, we got put in OSN, and so therefore 99% of our success has come from post OSN entries.
yeah. And you guys have played over like around 6 months together, essentially.
Yes, it was actually just our 6-month anniversary 2 days ago. So,
And you don't have to say the exact amount, but it's like a several 100,000 at least. We can safely say.
yes,
Within all that time and all those hours, I'm sure you guys have some good stories.
Dude, there's a lot of good stories from being on the road.
it depends on what kind of stories you're looking for.
Yeah, we got a lot. We got them all.
We've got non-AP related stories. We've got AP related stories. Just being on the road, I think it just generates a lot of interesting things to talk about.
Yeah, let's start off with some of your most memorable.
Okay, I'm going to say the most memorable because for me, this is like crazy. We were out somewhere in over yonder in the Pacific Northwest. All right.
Okay,
and we were so this is a non-AP related. I'll let Solidest talk about an AP related story, but non-AP, we were staying at an Airbnb in the Pacific Northwest, and there's some pretty crummy areas out there. I don't know what Colin's doing out there, but some pretty crummy areas out there. So we were staying in an Airbnb in an interesting area, and we were sharing it with some other person. It was kind of like more of a hostel situation where she has a room, we have our own room, and then we share a bathroom kind of thing. All of a sudden, we get back from a casino at like 7 a.m. So SolidestDawg, we were actually in the same casino, one of the very rare occasions that we're actually in the same casino at the same time. But we're in the same casino, and all of a sudden 6:30 a.m. hits, and he's like, dude, I can't go anymore. We got to go home. And I was like, all right, cool. Sounds good. We went back to our Airbnb at like 6:30. We got back at like 7 a.m. And all of a sudden I try to walk in the door. Solidest is like grabbing some things from the car or whatever. And I walk to the door and open it up, and it like doesn't budge. So there's like something in the way. There's something blocking the door. I'm like, dang, that's weird. And so I like kind of look around, or like, I think I heard a moan. I was like, damn, what's that? And so I like run back up to the car because I think someone's like in there canoodling or something. So I run back up to the car, and I'm like, dude, I think someone's like doing something in our Airbnb. And Solidest walks down with me. We kind of run down there, and there's no one canoodling. She was passed out in front of the door, like passed out face down in front of the door, and like not very well clothed. And so we were like, okay, that's definitely strange. So we ended up calling the ambulance because she was very clearly unconscious and not doing well. So we called the ambulance, and as it turns out, she was having a seizure, and she ended up having a brain aneurysm. Blood vessel popped in her brain or something. So she had to have immediate attention, obviously. And so we called the ambulance. She got taken away and she was safe. She didn't die, but she texted us. Actually, she somehow got our number through the Airbnb host or whatever. And she texted us and she was just like, thank you for saving me, I guess. Like, because of you two, I was able to go back to my children and whatnot. And so that's probably one of the oddest and best experiences of my life, because it was really heartwarming to hear that kind of thing from her and that we actually like saved her life in a way.
Yes, we saved her life. She would have been dead. Apparently it just happened to the brain aneurysm. She texted us like a week later, like you were saying, and she was like, yeah, apparently it just happened at like, we got there at like 7:30. It happened at like 7 a.m. or something. So if we were like 30 minutes later, if I stayed in the casino like a little bit longer, she could have been dead. We could have been walking in on a dead body.
Somehow, by the grace of God, we texted each other at 6:30 to get out of the casino. And for some reason, it just happened to be at that exact moment. And we got back at like the perfect time to save this woman's life. So
That's crazy.
non-AP related, but nonetheless, probably one of the most memorable things that we've done.
When I was on the phone with 911, they were trying to get me to like, they were like, oh, can you roll her over? I'm like, I peek in. She doesn't have a bra. And I'm like, no, I'm not rolling her over. I don't know CPR. No. I was like, get someone down here now.
Well, and maybe, just maybe, Lightning, the plasma that you donated to build your bankroll was also used on her.
Yeah, I highly doubt it. We were in a very far away location from my home, but you know what? You never know. So that's a good way to put it, SD1. I appreciate that.
That was a really good story, but what about a casino story?
There's one good one. So like we were at a casino in New Mexico. This is just like a funny story, right? It's nothing like crazy going on, but so Lightning got backed off. Then all of a sudden I'm getting backed off by the guy and I'm trying to cash out without ID and stuff. They were not having it. New Mexico casinos are super sweaty, but the casino manager comes and he's like talking about me. He's like, yeah, you guys can try to take advantage of the casino, but you will face the consequences. And he's like, yeah, I used to work at MGM Grand. Like, I've been doing this since you were in diapers. And I was like, oh, yeah, like acting kind of cocky and stuff. But, like, now whenever I'm getting, like, free hotel rooms sometimes from these casinos, I'm like, I look at Lightning, I'm like, yeah, I'm really enjoying these consequences.
Not even free hotel rooms, but, like, the money that we generate from them. Like, yeah, I don't know, man. I feel like these consequences are pretty sweet, so.
Yeah, I'm enjoying the consequences, that's for sure. But another funny casino experience, too, like, so I get backed off. I go back the next day, right? There's this one casino in Arizona. I went there 3 days in a row, same night shift, right? So I'd go there. I went there night shift one day. I'm doing like 2x600 on the table. They're like, oh, sir, we got to see your ID. I'm like, I'm sorry, man. I ain't got that, right? So like, they're like walking me out. Come back the next day, same thing happens, right? I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, I don't got the ID. I don't got it. And I leave again. Third day, they were not having it. Like, I was playing for like 50 minutes or something. This place has biometrica. I don't know how I lasted 50 minutes in there. She was saying she just got the notification or something. But yeah, so I'm playing. They're like, all right, you got to come cash out now, right? Like, we told you 2 days in a row. And at this point, I had the CTR. And that's when so like, we go to the cage, cash out, and then they ban me. But that was a pretty funny story because I went there 3 days in a row around like the same time. And like, I lasted like 40 minutes plus each day. So I don't know how that was possible.
I wonder how long you would have lasted if you just stayed and showed them the ID.
Oh, not at all, dude. They would have definitely just backed me off instantly from that.
Have you guys had any like heated backoffs or any nasty ones?
This was after the incident in the Northwest where we found the passed out lady. We just kept hitting the same casino over and over again. So they backed me off finally, right? And I'm trying to cash out $2,000 in chips. Well, they were not having it, right? They were not having it at all. They're trying to get me to go get my ID. I'm like, no, I'm not showing ID. You guys already know who I am. And they're threatening to call the cops on me. So they call the cops. So I'm waiting there for the cops to come. As like I'm waiting, the guy comes down, like the casino manager, with my OSN profile on a printed piece of paper. And I thought it was hilarious. I was like, no way, you got my mugshot? Like acting all cocky to him and stuff. He's like, yeah, so we got you right here. And I was like, I was wearing the same hoodie as in one of the pictures. And I was like, how can't you identify who I am then? Look, that's like, I'm wearing the same hoodie in the picture there. And like, he's like, man, that does not matter. We still need to have your ID for our system. Right. So I'm like, oh, can I see that paper real quick? So he hands me the paper and I'm looking at it. I'm like, oh, you got 3 new pictures on here. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. And like, I was just saying like the places that they were from. Then the last one, I was like, wait a minute, I was like, I looked at the floor. I was like, oh, that's here. I was like, dude, you guys got OSN here? I was like, I didn't know that. I started folding it up, about to put it in my pocket. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna keep this, man, as a souvenir. He looks so angry, right? He looks so mad, grabs it out my hand, crumples it up like super hard and stuffs it in his pocket. And I was like, dang, bro. I was like, that wasn't very nice, man. And at that point, that's when the cops pulled up. And like they're threatening to arrest me at that point. Like they're like, yeah, you're being asked to leave. I can arrest you right now. And like I actually felt very threatened. Like it seemed like he was about to just throw me in cuffs right then and there. And I had my chips in my hand. So I was just like imagining him like flying all over the floor if he grabbed my arm or something. I was like, dude, you can't arrest me. And he was like, well, they're asking you to leave and you're not leaving. I was like, no, they're asking me to go get my ID, which I'm not going to do because my car is all the way down the way. Like I'm not trying to walk all the way down there. I just want to cash out and leave. I don't know how long it was, but Lightning was sitting on a slot watching the incident. We were texting during this time and he's like, dude, there's a cop car here. Is that for you? I was like, hell yeah, that's for me, bro. So like the lady cop and the male cop, like the lady cop was so super heated at first, but eventually like they started, all of a sudden the guy comes up to me. He's like, so what's an advantage player? Like all interested and stuff. I was like, well, I'm pretty much a blackjack player. And he's like, oh, I was down a lot at this point, like thousands of dollars. And he's like, oh, so you're a good blackjack player, but you're losing? I was like, yeah, that shit happens, man. But then the lady cop, she was very interested at that point. She's like, oh, so like this is your job then or something? And I was like, oh yeah, pretty much. So she escorts me out. I got cashed out, get escorted out. And I was like, yeah, if you ever have this problem again of card counters not wanting to show ID, just be nice, please.
Educating the police. I like it.
Yeah, because the night prior to that, we knew someone who also had a heated cop experience at the same casino, but they wouldn't cash him out. I don't know how that got sorted out at all. That was my most heated cash out of all time. I've only had the cops called on me twice. The second time the cops are called on me, it wasn't as heated. They cashed me out after I did that, but that one in the Pacific Northwest was the most heated.
I'm pretty boring. I don't have a lot of heated backoffs. For some reason, I'm really good at de-escalating situations. So,
Any pleasant, nice backoffs or any
to be frank, most of the backoffs that I've experienced in Vegas are usually like the most friendly. They're always like smiling. And so it seems like they're the most educated, which makes sense, it being the biggest market in the world. But they're always like super friendly. And usually I'll, do the BJA special and give them the handshake and say thank you for letting me play, that kind of thing, just so I can leave a good impression, I guess, and all the while trying to be a little forgettable, but it's hard to be forgettable nowadays, I guess.
Vegas also, it's not that they're like, just because they're so sharp, it's because they've been sued so many times that they're finally getting the picture.
I don't know.
There's been a few times where we had to call gaming. Like we called them 2 times one night. We go to one place trying to cash out without ID. They were not having it, dude. They were not having it. So we got this gaming agent to come out. Then they eventually cashed us out. Then we got banned from there. Then we told them, we were like, yeah, okay, man, we're doing this all night, right? We got to cash out a lot of chips, so we might hit you up again. We go to the next place. Yes, we were hitting them up again. It was within the hour, and that was pretty funny. Got him to come out again, cash us out.
Yeah, within 30 minutes, we had another instance at the next casino, as we expected, with the amount that we were cashing out. But nonetheless, it was under CTR threshold. So, we know our rights and whatnot. And so we got the gaming agent out the second time, and he was still helpful. But at the second place, he was annoyed by us, even though we told him beforehand, like, dude, you're probably going to have to be with us all night, just saying. So basically, we're telling him to like tail us to each casino, but that's not his job. So he had to go on like a call by call basis. So he would go back to the office, and then 30 minutes later we would call, and he'd have to come back out and help us out a second time. And it only happened twice that night, but
he was pretty mad. I'm not gonna lie. You could tell like he was just heated based on like his demeanor and stuff like that.
Well, he should be annoyed with the casino, not you guys.
I know, I think he just wanted us to show ID, pretty much.
He was annoyed. Yeah, he was annoyed with the casino, but he was also annoyed with us because he's like, "Why aren't you guys just showing your ID?" I don't think he understood. Like, okay, we don't want to show our ID because we're APs. Like, we're like, dude, we want to protect our identity, and he didn't really understand that. And so, in fact, at the second place, what ended up happening is he took pictures of our IDs to send them back to his gaming boss, I guess. Like he had a boss back at the office that he had to like validate our IDs with or whatever. And so we're like, okay, that's probably fine. It's a gaming agent. Like he's here for us. So he took pictures of our IDs. And then at the second place where he helped us cash out, he actually showed that picture to the casino. I got absolutely livid. I was like, dude, you were not supposed to do that. And I told you not to do that. we almost had a lawsuit on our hand. We didn't end up pursuing, but he essentially violated our Fourth Amendment rights, and that's a whole other can of worms. But our experiences with gaming has been mixed, to say the least.
Gaming is not very helpful. On the phone they are sometimes, but I mean, it's probably about a 50-50 shot with gaming.
Yeah, it's so annoying when they don't back up what they're supposed to do. It's just
My
something you
most
have to deal
favorite
with.
back off I had was at one of my locals. I'm dressed as like, if you guys ever seen Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas with Johnny Depp, I was like dressed up like Johnny Depp's character pretty much. I looked like that, wearing the bucket hat and all. So I'm looking around, I see the casino manager like right behind me, like against the wall, and like they were like talking about me. I could just tell. So I was just like peeking over. I was like, oh man, pretty sure they're coming for me. All of a sudden, I'm looking at the table somewhere, look back, they're gone. So I'm like looking around. I'm like, okay, I think I'm good. I'm good. All of a sudden, I get a tap on my shoulder. They say my real name. They're like, hey, Solidest, come here. And come talk to me. And I was like, no, you can just stay right here. I was like, what's the problem, man? What's the problem? He's like, come on, really? Really? Like, he's like saying my name. He's like, really, man? And like, I couldn't hold it in. I just started laughing. He started laughing. I was like, all right, man, all right. That was a very friendly, light back off.
As most of them are, but then there's the occasional dude who takes his job way too seriously and acts like it's his money that you're stealing, I guess. And so those are always the fun ones, in my opinion. But there's definitely the people that take their job way too seriously, even though you're winning casinos' money and not John Smith's money.
Something that gets me in a lot of trouble, too, is just not being very nice to them. I'm stopping it now, but sometimes I'd be very cocky with the people kicking me out, and then I get banned for it. So, like, that's honestly what got me in OSN, too, first day, because, like, I said, they were, like, trespassing me. I was like, come on, man, why don't you want one winner in here? I was like, oh, yeah, you guys just like the losers in here, don't you? And, like, I was just, like, really cocky, and I'm pretty sure that's what got me in OSN. So every AP out there that's starting out, just be nice. Be nice on every back off, and then nothing will happen to you. Hopefully.
Not nothing, but...
Yeah, I mean, it is good advice because I totally understand that instinct to just want to like lash out and kind of tell them what's right. But we've met a few APs in the past where it's like they rack up all these trespasses, like way more than average. And it's like, why are they doing that? And then come to find out, like they tell us like, yeah, they fly off the handle and stuff during the back offs and this and that. So I think that definitely bites you in the end way more.
Yeah, one of them that I messed up on a lot, like I didn't know it was the casino manager, but I called him an asshole and he banned me. And like then I come to find out from the security walk me out, yeah, you shouldn't have said that to the casino manager. And I was very like mad at myself for doing that and lashing out.
Well, thanks guys. Thanks for sharing your story and offering a ton of really good advice for people starting out as to whether or not to go solo or team. And you guys seem pretty satisfied going the team route, right?
Absolutely.
It's pretty lucky in a way. Usually you don't find this group of people like this because trust is like a big issue, right? So, I mean, if you guys are going to join a team, you might just have to send it with a small amount of money because like we really didn't know each other well. But if you do have friends that want to do it, I highly recommend that route because you already have trust for each other. But it's scary though because money changes people, right? So like luckily we got a good team now going. Hopefully we can keep going till the $1 million mark.
We'll do the second podcast at the $1 million mark.
Yeah, looking forward to that.
Yeah. Thanks for having us, guys.
All right. Thanks, guys. To learn more about card counting, visit blackjackapprenticeship.com or visit our YouTube channel, Blackjack Apprenticeship.